Hey guys, Colleen here with Hank and Ruthie. Ruthie is a friend's dog that I'm watching for a few days. So, I've gotten quite a few requests to showcase more of my record collection in my videos. So, I decided to try out a new segment where I choose one of my favorite records. We talk about it a little bit, hear a little bit of it, and then I'll go into a little bit of detail about the types of amps that the artists like to use. So let's pick one out. So this record was recorded in 1977, mostly in New York at Electric Lady Studios, but a few tracks were recorded at Clover in LA. Stanley Clarke actually produced this record. For those of you who don't know, Stanley Clarke is an awesome bass player, mostly like fusion music, which is kind of an interesting pairing with Roy, but I feel like Stanley's style adds a totally unique element to Roy's music. And Stanley Clarke does play bass on a few tracks on this record. Let's talk a little bit about Roy because he's a very unique person with a very unique playing style that I don't think could ever be replicated. So Roy was born in 1939 in rural Arkansas. His parents bought him a Rickenbacker lap steel at a fairly young age. I believe he was like 9 or so. And they signed him up for lessons. And he took lessons for a few years. And his teacher, was teaching him how to play music. But towards the end, his teacher realized that Roy was just learning how to play everything by ear. He could play anything by ear. There are stories of people who remember him from his childhood just shredding the lap steel along to the radio and along to a lot of the country music and any music at that time. So Roy learned how to play at a very young age, and then in his early teen years, he started playing in bands, and he started playing guitar. His guitar of choice is a 53 Telecaster. You can see him playing that a lot. He is known to play a Fender Vibrolux that he turns around so the speaker is not facing the audience, and he cranks that volume to 10. And I'm pretty sure he liked the treble to be pretty high as well. And then he just controls the volume on his guitar. Roy liked to turn the amp around because he felt that it kind of smoothed out his tone. And he had so much crazy control over that guitar. He could make sounds that only Roy can make with that guitar. So in this video clip that I'm going to show you, you can see his amp facing away from the crowd. And then shortly after, you'll be able to really see and hear how he controls the volume with his guitar. I want to showcase a few tracks on this record that really stand out to me. The first one is track number 4 on side 1. It's called The Adventures of Brer Rabbit and Tar Baby. This track stands out to me because I'm hearing Chet Atkins and Les Paul influence kind of coming through in this. It's a good example of one of the many stylistic categories that Roy finds himself in. Let's give it a little listen, and then I'm going to follow that up with a quote that I found directly from Les Paul himself about Roy.
The guitar player said to me, hey, there's a guy down here that really plays the hell out of a guitar, and he's different. He's different, and he's cruising down his own lane.
The next track I want to talk about is track number 5 on side 1, called Ramons Blues. I really like this track because it showcases a lot of the crunch that Roy gets with that volume work. And sometimes he's able to make the guitar sound like a steel. It's just the way that he manipulates that volume control on the guitar and like makes it swell. So let's hear a little clip of that. Lastly, I really love on side 2, track 1, the cover of Green Onions. So Steve Cropper played guitar with Booker T and the MGs. It's really cool to hear him and Roy trade solos off in Roy's rendition of Green Onions. So Roy's guitar playing was soulful, totally unrestricted. I'll show you guys a clip of what I mean by that. I mean, he can make sounds and use these crazy techniques that are so uniquely him. As wild as his playing is, it's refined and you can hear every note. There are a few more amps that Roy did like to use. He was known to have a tweed bassman, probably sometime in the 70s. And in his later years, he actually started playing a Roland JC-120. Unfortunately, Roy Buchanan died tragically in 1988. And there is some mystery surrounding his death. But one thing is for sure, his style and his personality that came through his playing is unmatched. He blew minds back when he was playing live and people saw him playing, and he still continues to blow people's minds through his records and the live footage of his playing.
He didn't think in terms of blues. He could play the blues, you know. But he really, Roy, even when he was down and out, his suffering was not like a blues musician. He didn't suffer from those things. He suffered from a longing, a kind of a separation that I can only say is from either a distant heaven or you know, just Roy never felt comfortable walking on this planet.
I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you next time. You know, Hank, I've got all these demos that I recorded years ago that I would love to upload, to share and stream. So I decided, why not try out DistroKid? As we know, DistroKid is a service that helps musicians upload their music to all major streaming platforms. The app is so user-friendly. You can upload album art straight from your phone, and it's really easy to input all of the track information, and then you just upload the track, and boom, you're done. Viewers of my channel get 30% off at the link I will post below. It's distrokid.com/VIP/Fazio. So go check it out, get those dusty old demos or your fresh, sparkly new tracks. Whatever it may be, get it uploaded.